For years, they stayed silent.
You're like, I'm just not going to say anything because that's what he told me to do.
I didn't want to say that I'd been part of something, that I felt shame.
6 women speaking out to Savannah, saying they were all sexually abused by Jeffrey Epstein.
By the time I was being raped, it was too late.
Anouska De Georgiou now sharing her story for the first time on television. She was a teenage model from a well-off family in London when she says she met the wealthy financier.
I was involved in that kind of lifestyle growing up, and so I thought I could cope, and I thought I could handle it.
She says the abuse lasted several years.
When Jeffrey would see me, he would physically shake because he wanted to get at me.
Virginia Roberts-Giuffre tells a similar story, which she has described in court paperwork, of grooming and intimidation at the hands of Epstein and his inner circle. She says Epstein not only sexually abused her, but directed her to have sex with other powerful men, including Britain's Prince Andrew. Giuffre says she was 17 when this photo was taken with the prince. Before, she says, he abused her, telling Savannah,
He wasn't rude or anything about it. He said, thank you and some kind of soft sentiments like that and left.
Buckingham Palace tells NBC News in a statement, it is emphatically denied that the Duke of York had any form of sexual contact or relationship with Virginia Roberts. Any claim to the contrary is false and without foundation. Prince Andrew has repeatedly denied Giuffre's allegations, after Epstein's death telling NBC News, at no stage during the limited time I spent with him did I see, witness, or suspect any behavior of the sort that subsequently led to his arrest and conviction. Savannah spoke to Michael Ryder, the former chief of police in Palm Beach, Florida. He and his team launched the first known investigation into Jeffrey Epstein in 2005, but he says state and federal prosecutors let the victims down, and federal investigators left them in the dark.
So victims who had taken a lot of risk to come forward and tell their stories were feeling like they were hung out to dry.
Yes, certainly. We were the only part of government that would talk to them. There are all sorts of agencies involved, but they were all so, I suppose, afraid of this case, they didn't even want to talk to the victims.
Epstein pleaded guilty in 2008 to 2 prostitution-related charges. He registered as a sex offender and served 13 months in a county jail, but was allowed to leave for work 6 days a week.
Did the justice system fail these victims?
This is the worst failure of the criminal justice system in modern times.
The state attorney at the time didn't respond to NBC News' request for comment. The Justice Department declined to comment, but is investigating the handling of the case.
When you heard that Jeffrey Epstein had committed suicide in jail, what was your reaction?
I had a nervous breakdown.
Can you put into words how it hit you? What you were feeling?
It's just an anger that I can't even put into words.
Epstein's accusers are now finding solace in each other, bonded together, determined never to be silenced again.
You're standing and you're using your voices. And you're being heard.
Yeah, that's the greatest thing that's come out of this thus far, is just the ability to be able to be heard.
And believed?
Yeah.
Yeah.